Welcome to the Rethink Social Change podcast, where we talk about what truly moves the needle for equitable and inclusive societal progress. I'm your host, Retiba Sharif. I've designed, learned from, and evaluated social change for 20 years on 4 continents. I share my own insights here, but mostly amplify the voices of global change makers. I randomly draw cards from the Rethink Social Change deck to spark and guide unscripted conversations with them that explore what works, what doesn't, and why. Join us for real talk and lessons you can apply to create truly transformative social initiatives. Hey, how do you make sure the change you're working towards is the change that's needed? Every one of us is grappling with urgent calls for justice, for inclusion, for equity, and I think it's no longer enough to stay at surface level. And to some extent, guess what's needed? I think we must really try to understand the lived realities of those we seek to serve to drive meaningful change. It is their voices that we need to hear, especially as we design those solutions that are meant to create lasting change for them. You and I know that solutions that are driven by assumptions can miss the mark, and often do. So I'm going to be cheeky and ask you to answer this question. Be honest. When you last designed a program, did you and your team ask yourselves, what do the people we seek to serve feel? What do they hear? What do they hope for? I'm Retiba. Thanks for joining me on the Rethink Social Change podcast. And today I put down my cards because I want to share a simple yet transformative tool. It's called the empathy map. It comes from the design thinking world. So let's first design empathy. Merriam-Webster defines empathy as, quote unquote, the action of understanding, being aware of, being sensitive to, and vicariously experiencing the feelings, the thoughts, and experience of another. So in our work, I see it more as a mindset and a behavior that helps identify and understand people, their social environment, and how they interact with it, as well as the challenges they face, in order for us to develop useful, effective, and culturally appropriate solutions for them. Every single person is an expert in their own experience, and empathy allows us to tap into that, to better understand that experience from their perspective, so we can better work with them and support them. It's about putting those you serve, better yet, those you co-create with, at the center of what you do or plan to do, by developing a deeper, more well-rounded understanding of them. In reading what's written and spoken about on diversity, equity, and inclusion, I realized that our work demands more than intention. What we need is to go through the humbling exercise of deep understanding. Now, I understand that intentions may be there, but time is often short, that you'd want to be thorough, but you can't do it in time to meet the proposal deadline. And that's where the empathy map comes in. Essentially, it's a versatile tool that helps answer, mainly one question. And you may want to jot it down so you can remember it and share it with your team. Here goes. What does the world look like through the eyes of those at the heart of the change we're working towards? Let me say it again. What does the world look like through the eyes of those at the heart of the change we're working towards? To answer that question, you'd have to embark on a journey of discovery that will take you from what people say to what they think, what they feel, what they do, what they hear, and what they see. The programs I worked on usually did a good job of capturing what is said and done, but really getting to the thoughts, the feelings, and most importantly, what people are seeing and hearing around them, not so much. I'll walk you through the components of an empathy map, and to make it real, and I hope useful, I'm using as an example a program that seeks to empower disenfranchised youth, those navigating systemic barriers like poverty, exclusion, and limited access to relevant education and job opportunities. But before that, let me tell you why I think you should even bother with mapping people's thoughts, feelings, and experiences. One, deeper understanding. We talked about it. The empathy map helps uncover the needs, the challenges, and aspirations of the peoples you aim to serve, whether they're young people, women, farmers, grassroots activists, or decision makers. 2, better strategies. It'll help you design interventions that are aligned with lived realities, but also challenge your assumptions. And yes, those assumptions can be biased, but that's for another episode. 3, genuinely inclusive. By amplifying marginalized voices, it ensures that those often left out of decision-making processes are represented. So don't go for the usual suspect, those participants that do the rounds of different programs. It has to be representative of the population. And 4, stronger connections. This tool isn't just for the people you serve. It's for you as change makers. It reminds you to approach your work with the humility, with thoughtfulness, and a commitment to creating change that matters. Now, let's break it down and get to know our youth better. They may say things like, we want opportunities to prove ourselves and that we are capable. It feels like no one listens to us. Why should I try if nothing ever changes? These statements can reveal unmet needs, aspiration, and a sense of being unheard or overlooked. Then they may think, will this program actually make a difference? Why should I trust this organization when I've been let down before? Are they just doing this for their own agenda? Questions like these help you identify the narratives shaping their trust and skepticism towards programs or support systems. Now, they may feel frustration over inequalities and feeling trapped in their circumstances. They may feel hope when they see peers breaking barriers and achieving things they thought impossible. They may also feel anger at being overlooked or excluded from opportunities. Emotions often drive engagement or disengagement in activities. Understanding these feelings helps us build stronger connections and stronger programs as well. As to what they do, well, they may act in different ways. Organizing community events to create local support networks. They may seek out opportunities to upskill or network in small, meaningful ways. They can also rebel or disengage from systems they feel are just not working for them. Looking at what they do reveals where your support can amplify their efforts, helping to build on the momentum they've already created, or find the right solutions to engage them better in a meaningful way and a sustained way. They may hear different messages around them. From media, messages like, youth are the future. From peers, nothing ever changes anyway. From adults, you're too young to make a real difference. The mixed signals they hear share their perceptions of possibility, creating hope in some moments, but also reinforcing cynicism and disenfranchisement in others. In their environment, they may see a lack of visible role models in leadership positions or success stories from their communities. They could see communities that are struggling with similar barriers, making them feel stuck in a repetitive cycle. Or success stories of others who seem to have accessed better resources or opportunities. What they see or don't see affects their sense of what's possible and whether they even believe that change is attainable. Before I share how you can turn those insights into action, I wanted to share a couple of tips I learned about completing the empathy map. So ideally, in this case, for example, youth should complete the empathy map. You can sample a representative group of the target population of your initiative. The maps can be anonymous with just essential demographic information to help with analysis and then tailoring the responses. If that's not possible to give it to them directly, then the whole project team, along with stakeholders, People from the community should conduct interviews, surveys, and observations to fill out the map. And if that's still not possible, then start with what you know and refine as you go. But just design a plan and agree on a timeline for that refining to happen throughout your program rollouts. And now to what you do with a completed empathy map. Well, the information could serve a stakeholder analysis where you tailor the maps to highlight the diverse experiences and need, like those of a disenfranchised youth, but you can use this for any of the stakeholders of your program. Which then this stakeholder map can then feed into designing your initiative. It helps envision relevant, inclusive, we said it, and more intentional programs. It's also strengthen collaboration with your team, with your stakeholders. When you share the map with them, it becomes a living document that evolve with new insights as you roll out the program and you interact with your participants. And I'd be remiss if I didn't share how it could serve your monitoring and evaluation process. So you can use it as a framework to define and measure outcomes. After implementation, you can revisit the map. Ask yourselves, did we address their needs? Where did we fall short? What has changed? Did we move the needle on their feelings, their behaviors, their attitudes? Did we change the environment and the perspective of others on them? If so, how? Imagine using the map as a baseline. So having the same youth revisit the maps at the end of the program and note what has changed from their perspective. That'd be so cool. Yeah, when used right and taken to its full potential, it can be a treasure trove for the program team. But you know what? Come to think of it, beyond the tool, an empathy map is also a catalyst, really. It bridges the gap between intention and action so that your work resonates with those you co-create with. My invitation is that when you next design a project, program, whatever initiative that targets people, ask yourself, what does this look like through their eyes? Thanks for joining me today. Hope it was useful. You'll find a template and relevant links in the description box. And please let me know if you've used tools like the empathy map in your work and how they served you. Until next time, be the change.